If I paid attention to price quotes every day for the last 50 years, I would have had a stroke in my 30s and died.
Let's start off with gold and silver. Gold, as we're recording this, is sitting about the 32.50 range. What are your thoughts right now? We're seeing the stock market go up higher. The China deal has been made with Trump and the US. What are the positives we're seeing right now for the gold market?
Ivan, I guess if you're a trader or a young guy, you think that gold is down from 3,400 to 3,250. If you're an old guy like me, you think gold is up from 250 bucks in the year 2000 to 3,250. So I guess it's all how you look at it.
Right.
Um, I've been an investor for a very long time. And I guess because I'm calm, I've lived a very good life. If I paid attention to price quotes every day for the last 50 years, I would have had a stroke in my 30s and died. Instead, I looked at all of this as noise as opposed to music. At least after age 30, I began to invest for the long term. I've made a lot of money. I stayed very calm, and I don't particularly care about price perturbations. I like volatility when I'm on the buy side in particular because it's a series of frequent sales. Uh, but the recent moves in gold haven't been of any particular interest to me. I think I said on your show a couple of years ago, I didn't own gold because I thought it might go through 3,000. I bought it because I was afraid it was going to go to 9,000 or 10,000 or 11,000 as a
Right.
consequence of the deterioration of the US dollar. And I still completely believe that. Gold can move up and down $100 in a couple of days. And to be honest with you, never mind breaking a sweat, I don't even notice.
Right. What are your thoughts right now on the deal that was made with China for the stock market, for the U.S. economy? What are your thoughts there?
There's a lot of liquidity in the market, and I think investors were looking for an excuse to take it up. Uh, the tariff things scared people. Perhaps people were looking for a reason at that point in time to take it down. It seems to me like a lot of sound and fury, very much like the recent so-called summit between Canada and the United States, where they solved all the problems between our two countries in 23 minutes on TV. Deals are made quietly. They're not made grandstanding for domestic audiences. I suspect that we have been fencing with the Chinese and they with us for a fairly long time. And a lot of the theater that you have seen was pardon me, grandstanding for a domestic audience, and Trump grandstanding for a domestic audience. At least I hope that's what happens.
Right.
Uh, Global trade, conducted even semi intelligently, makes everybody in the world richer. And I would prefer a world where everybody in the world was richer and where everybody in the world was mutually reliant. I like that idea. I remember hearing when I was in university, which was back in the Paleolithic, that when trade crossed borders, armies didn't. Uh, and I would prefer that. I would prefer to fight the Chinese at places like Walmart and Costco.
Which is probably the best bet.
Yep.
Now, Rick, I wanted to talk to you too about everything that's happening right now in the mining sector. Silver mining stocks, gold mining companies, the producers, the explorers. What do you have a keen eye on right now? And what are your thoughts right now on the mining sector?
Ivan, bull markets take a predictable pattern. We're in my fourth now. So honestly, I've seen this movie before.
Right.
What happens is that the commodity always moves first, usually because it's oversold, because people are betting on a paradigm that was true that's no longer true. And we've seen that in the gold market in the last 2 years. I remember being interviewed by you and your readers asking me, will the gold price ever move? Said, Rick, you keep saying the same stuff over and over and over again, and nothing ever happens. Well, now it's happened, right? The gold price has doubled, basically. Okay.
Right.
The next thing that happens in a precious metals bull market is that the rising gold price The price of gold rises faster than the cost to produce gold. That doesn't happen right away. You'll remember 2023. The price of gold started moving, but the price to produce gold moved up, and so producers' margins didn't move. And so the audiences said, when will the gold stocks move? Well, 13 weeks ago, to be specific.
Right.
The biggest and the best gold mining companies move first. That's true for two reasons. Those who produce gold enjoy better margin expansion than those who don't produce gold.
Right.
And when generalist investors come into the space, they look for the biggest, the best, the most liquid companies first. Gold stocks didn't move for a while after the gold price moved for two reasons. The gold price moved initially because of central bank buying, and central banks don't buy gold stocks. So that's why one moved and the other. That's pretty simple. They
Right.
also didn't move, as we said, because the cost to produce gold was going up as fast as the gold price was going up. So margins didn't increase. But every quarter now, we're seeing absolutely blowout quarters. We're seeing companies absolutely bury margin expectations. And so you're starting to see the gold stocks move after the momentum has been established by the biggest and the best, by the Francos, by the Wheatons, by the Agnico Eagles. We've seen, that whole sector up 50, 60, 70% in a year.
Right.
You start to see valuation discrepancies between the biggest and the best and the best of the rest. One of two things happens. Either, in effect, value arbitrageurs come into the market and say this thing is relatively cheap compared to the big guys, so they allocate some capital there. Or if they don't, the big guys take over the little guys. He who has the lowest cost of capital wins.
Right.
So if you aren't keeping pace and you have a high quality project, if Agnico Eagle is selling at 14 or 15 times EBIT and you're selling at 8 times EBIT, guess what? You become part of Agnico.